All right, guys, we are back. Dynamic Man Podcast, episode 35. And we are talking about wife goggles. Wife goggles. Get some spicy shit going on X today. We got some drama going on X today. We're going to be talking about that. Adam Stones, what is up, sir? If you guys are here, leave a comment in the chat. If you are here, leave a comment in the chat. Guys, it's been a week. It's been like a week since I've seen you guys. Been more than a week since I've seen you. And guess what? It's because there was good stuff happening. It's because all of last week I was filming. I was filming Masterclass 2.0, Dynamic Man Masterclass. Absolutely phenomenal week with Tiger. Like Tiger Joseph doing a great job with the filming. Very, very intense. We're going to make this course something really special for you guys. So I'm really excited to release that in mid-November. End of this month, we're going to take regular masterclass off the air. We're going to integrate it, all that old material, into the new material. The course has doubled, more than doubled in size, actually. It's more than doubled in size. And it's now structured around transformation. Everything is like very, very well organized. It is so exciting that I haven't been doing these shows because I've been doing that. I've been doing that all the way till Friday. Alex Wolf, what's up, sir? So if you guys are here, leave a comment in the chat. We'll get some momentum back on the shows. But this is big stuff happening today. Big stuff happening today on X. So I want to talk about all this stuff. I want to amp things up right now. So we had a bunch of drama on the timeline today about women and postpartum situations. Like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching the channel right now. Gentlemen, we are going to get into this. We're going to get into the content because we got till 6 o'clock. Okay. So I dropped some stuff in the timeline today, a little bit triggering for a lot of women. Good thing is, the good thing is I don't care. The good thing is I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. What I know enough about women to understand that when you get these kind of reactions from women, you're getting the reactions because they have their own wound around this topic. And I know I'm being an asshole. Like, I know I'm being an asshole, and I know that a lot of women, they had experience postpartum, putting on weight. They had experiences not liking the way that they looked. They had negative maybe experiences with their husband and their marriage. And so when I make comments talking about how when, women putting on insane amounts of weight, not really during pregnancy so much as after, and not, gain it off within a reasonable time frame. We're going to talk about that reasonable time frame, right? That this stuff like just drives them crazy. It drives them crazy because nobody's ever allowed to tell them. Like, one of the things is that women will use anything they can to get out of fulfilling a role or responsibility, especially if they fall into like a bad faith dynamic. They'll use anything that they possibly can. But, obviously some topics have more power than others. So, sometimes you hear a lot of the stuff, like that video that went around recently of that, gay looking Christian husband who, I don't think he's actually gay, just spiritually gay, right? And he was basically unable to, he's like, the way he's going about asking his wife to have sex, she has like clearly absolute zero interest in him, right? Zero interest whatsoever in him. And she's, they have this conversation about sex. Absolutely humiliating, right? So you can find this on any topic, right? Sex is a popular one that women have because, well, I'm not feeling in the mood and I didn't feel, connected to you, whatever the fuck that means. By the way, I want to be clear. I'm not actually delegitimizing a woman's perspective on some of these things. I'm just saying that when you are operating in bad faith, it's not, this is what I need. I want to give you what you want. I want to have sex with you, but I haven't, but this is what, like, these are some things that I would like to see more of in the relationship, so that, it's not one of these things like they're going to agree to a frequency of sex and he's going to do some stuff and they're all happily ever after. It's always like, I'm not going to have sex unless you do X or Y more often. It's always vague, amorphous, always get out of, obligation card. Okay. So guys experience this nonsense with sex. Well, you better believe when it comes to pregnancy, this is like nuclear option, right? A man can never have anything negative to say about anything a woman does after she's gotten pregnant. After she's gotten pregnant, she's untouchable. That's how it is. That's the longhouse. After a woman's pregnant, she doesn't have any obligation whatsoever to be a wife. That's really what, I mean, a lot of these things are getting to. And some of these accounts responding to my post today, actually saying it out loud. So, here's what's kind of funny though. What was my original post? What was my original post? Not that one. What was it? Not that one. Where is it? This one. So I was responding to good old Radfem Hitler, always very good at stirring up the hornet's nest. That's because men are disgusted by postpartum bodies, she said, right? Because this is a conversation about how women, didn't want to have kids because of the male gaze or whatever. Men are not interested in postpartum bodies. And I said, unless your woman gains an enormous amount of weight, this isn't true. Wife goggles are a real thing. What women unfortunately don't appreciate is this is simply because their husbands love them. Other men won't offer them the same charity. Women who are worried about losing their bodies are going to lose them anyway due to age. The big mistake is not doing anything useful with them. They're not going to compete with a woman 10 years younger than them in that sense anyway. It's pure delusion. So it's funny. It's funny to me. So this is what I start off basically by saying men are actually like, they don't judge a woman's changes in her body on a fundamental level, right? They don't do it. But the conversation kind of evolves and we start to get into this stuff like about women being like really fat after they get pregnant and not losing the weight, which is not the same thing as really a postpartum body. I understand there's just some quibbling here, right? It's not the same thing. A postpartum body, a woman's body, she might have split abs, she might have some stretch marks, right? She might have some varicose veins. The torso is a little bit different. Sometimes there's differences in the vagina, right? And she might put on some weight. The weight might move in different positions. She also might get some pretty nice tits, bigger tits. There's positives too, okay? So breast milk goes in there. But look, what I'm talking about here is this phenomenon when women gain shit tons of weight and they don't lose it. Now, I understand that some women, when I put in my post, so my kind of like response post to some of this trolling nonsense I was dealing with, not that one. Man, I gotta get this right. Where is it? Not that one. Let's go here. I think this is it. It's this one. So I got this comment. I see a problem extremely frequently where men make nasty comments about postpartum women, even their own wives. A woman who was two months postpartum, having no help with the baby, and the man asked her to tell her lose weight faster. Okay, look, I do think that guys have to be a little bit realistic about what birthing a child does to a woman's body. There's massive hormonal changes. They do have to eat more during the pregnancy. How can this affect things later on? Charity is obviously, if you love your woman, you're gonna have some charity for her. And I said like 50 plus pounds, like tons of weight with pregnancy, 50 plus pounds. I'm gonna acknowledge this. I'm gonna walk back some details here because it is true that women can put on more than that, and it's not a big deal. They put on more than that and they lose all that pretty quickly. Some really tall and thin women can put on quite a bit of weight, and it's basically not even noticeable, right? It's not even noticeable. Um, or let's say it's not noticeable in a bad way, like it's carried well because they're tall. Shorter women obviously tend to bulk up more. Some women have different frames. So let's not say it's 50 pounds. Let's say maybe it's like 70. Let's say maybe it's 100 pounds. Okay. At the same time, the healthy range that is medically talked about is like 25 to 40 pounds if you're being generous on the high end. But women are going to have differences. It's one of the whole things about talking to women, right? You're always getting the exception. You're always getting the exception. Well, what if she has PCOS? What if she has this? What if she has this? What if you almost died? You're almost dying. I was dying. You're saying that I should have just died? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The fuck are you talking about? You can't have a serious conversation with these people. Like, you can't have a serious conversation with some of these women. You're telling me to lose weight. I could have died. What on earth are you talking about? This is like so irrelevant to the general conversation here. Like, just derail everything. Honestly, this is why I work with men. I love women, but this is why I work with men. It's the main reason. Like, some of this stuff is really out of control. It's just really out of control. And you get all of these traumatized, triggered women with their experiences. And I noticed that the women in the space, like the women who are actually in healthy relationships, the women who are happy, none of them got triggered by my post. Some added helpful context. No one got like triggered and angry. So you can tell a lot about a woman by how she responds to these things, because what you're doing basically is you're calling her out. When I work with clients who are dealing with dead bedroom relationships, issues with sex, right? What happens? I tell them ahead of time, when you are going to be challenging the frame of this dynamic that you've let drift into the ditch here, when you're challenging the frame of this dynamic, you are going to go through acute hell, because she is going to try to make you into the worst person ever because you're actually sticking up for what you want. I'm going to go back. That video, right? Of that, you know, gay looking Christian guy. I should probably show it because I'm assuming that a lot of you guys have seen all this stuff. So I'm just going to give a little quick screenshot right here so you guys can see it. It went viral. A lot of you guys know about it. I just want people who are, who are coming in to see this stuff. But there's like a real entitlement. The guy's interest in sex doesn't matter. This guy's interest in sex doesn't matter. Everything matters just how she feels. It's the same thing with pregnancy to a certain extent. You have to be much more appreciative, and naturally guys who love their husbands are more appreciative. They give a lot of charity, right? They give a lot of charity to their woman. But there is a trend, I'm just going to call it out bluntly. There is a trend of women having a child and they get huge and they don't feel like they have any obligation to change it, and they won't try to make you into a bad person if you say anything about it, and it isn't right. It's not right. It's bad faith behavior. If you're in a marriage with somebody, you owe it to be your best. Not only for yourself. You should do it fundamentally for yourself, actually. But you should do it also for the relationship. You do it for the relationship. I want to be a better man because I want to give my wife a return on her investment in me. That's why I want to be a better man. I want to be a better man for myself, but she helps to motivate me to be even better. She shows me where I've messed up. She shows me my weak spots. And, you know, through either directly or indirectly, right? And so I become a better man because of her, in part. It's a motivation. A good woman will always do that. She will inspire you at times and she will challenge you. Okay? And a man will do that for a woman too. A man will create structure for a woman to grow into. When a woman refuses within a reasonable range, maybe it's not 3 months. I said in one of these tweets, I said reasonable range is after 3 months you should be trying to get in better shape. Maybe 3 months is a little bit fast for some women. I'm happy to concede that. I don't care about that detail. Maybe it's 6 months. Some people are saying it's really 6 because that's when kids start to have food and you can't cut weight when you're with the milk supply. I actually think these are reasonable points. I think it's reasonable. You can do other things to start to prep yourself, exercise wise, light exercise. But I agree, maybe you can't really diet when you're primarily breastfeeding. I'm going to concede that. I don't care. That's not my point. My point is that she's going to want to change. She's going to want to try to bring herself back as best she can. And you're going to want to help her to come back as best she can. And if she doesn't want to come back, and if she keeps making excuses all the time, then she doesn't care about the marriage. I don't like hearing these women, "Oh, you're an asshole, you're an idiot. I bet you're an incel." See all this stuff. No, I'm a happily married father of 3 children, including a 7-week-old baby. You dumb fucking bitch. And I'm saying it like that because a lot of these women have never had, and I'm not saying it's actually productive to say this in a relationship, by the way, because it's not productive. But a lot of these women are entitled bitches. And that's exactly how their husbands feel in the marriage with them. And they can't say anything because they are told by society they can't ever tell their wife what they want if what they want makes their wife feel bad. That is not a marriage, that's a hostage situation. That's not love, that's manipulation. And men are done with it. They're done with it. I'm not some big red pill guy. You know, the red pill's right in its ways. It's incomplete in its ways. Good faith goes 2 directions. You want the man to step up and lead the family? Well, guess what? He wants you to be sexually available to him, and he wants you to be in as good shape as you can manage. Time will take its toll on your body, and he's not going to care that much about that. My wife looks very different than she did. I don't want to say very different, actually, but she looks different than she did when we first met. We first started dating 13 years ago. She looks different. She's aged. She's in her late 30s now. She's had 3 kids. It's hard for me. I have to like really think back, and I'm like, maybe I see an old photo. I'm like, damn, like, yeah, you did change. Still absolutely in love with her. Still absolutely attracted to her. She takes care of herself. She takes care of herself. Too many women are operating in bad faith. Women operate in bad faith. What we are seeing with this, it's the same shit that we see on the left. When we see the political left and how, the rules don't apply to them. Oh, so you're saying you just want poor people to die? You're saying you just want to kill immigrants? Done with this manipulation. If what I'm saying is hitting right now for some of you guys, drop a comment, like, like this video, comment. Let me know if, what's on your mind. What do you want to talk about on this topic in the next like 10 minutes that we have here? Because this to me is like it's not right. It's not right. And there's a way to talk to women about this. I'm not saying to be mean. I'm not saying to be mean. The feminine does grow with praise, right? The feminine grows with praise. So you need to encourage, if you want a woman to build up her confidence, right? You need to encourage. But if a woman has really serious self-esteem issues, she needs to do that, but she may also need to feel a little. It's like it's a balance. Like there's carrot and stick. There's carrot and stick. The carrot is I love you. The carrot is I want you. The carrot is I believe in you. The carrot is I'm going to do everything I can to make it easier for you. The stick is, and if you don't try to address this, if you don't make any effort to address this internally and externally, right? It's not just the physical looks, it's the mindset that produces it. That I don't want to be with you. That's not unreasonable. And, I'm sorry, but the church keeps disappointing me. A lot of the guys who are the worst with this stuff, they really are Christians. It drives me crazy. It is so a lot of these women, the women who are freaking out, and I think that the really liberal women would freak out too. But a lot of these trad women, not all of them, but a lot of them, absolutely manipulating and gaslighting their husbands. And the husbands are either quiet or they're going along with it because Jesus told me I can't have sex in my marriage. Jesus told me I had to have a fat wife. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? That is not how you run a marriage. Jesus told me I can't want anything in life. I can't get anything I want in life. That's what Jesus said. No. That's not what Jesus said. It's not what Jesus said. That's what a bunch of church women said. That's what they said. Guys got to get some backbone. I'm gonna level with you guys right now. I'm gonna level with you. If you're not willing to lose it all, you're never gonna get it. If you don't believe that you have something valuable to offer that woman, that she's not going to make absolutely reasonable changes in behavior to keep you, you don't believe that, it's either that your value sucks, so can't blame her for treating you like crap, or you don't have the confidence to actually run a marriage and you deserve to be walked on. Stop getting manipulated. Stop getting manipulated. There's charity and there's grace in marriage, and you need to give it to a woman. You have to give it to a woman when she is operating in good faith with you. And sometimes someone's operating in good faith, but because of internal stuff, they might be dragging their feet. So you call them out, right? Things you can do. But when there's always an excuse, and when you are made to feel like a bad person for having something reasonable, something that you signed up for, you gotta decide what kind of life you want to live. Some guys are too afraid to ever get married and have kids because they're afraid that they don't have what it takes to manage this dynamic. Other guys go ahead and get married and have kids and are too afraid to lose it. They're both fears, which we talk about in the new masterclass, by the way. They're both fears in your stage of development that you have to overcome if you actually want to achieve true freedom. That's it. A lot of guys won't walk away. It's a negotiation. When things get into, if you have really good faith with two people, you don't have to negotiate because everybody's trying to find win-wins all the time. They're saying what they feel. Everybody wants to accommodate, right? Everyone wants to figure out how to find a win-win. When that's broken down, when you've come across as weak in a negotiation, you have to establish strength. You have to establish deterrence. I'm sorry, but there's unless there's a really, really serious health issue, and by the way, for most of the ladies, there are not. For most of them, there's not. There's no reason for a woman to be 50 pounds overweight after a year after she's been pregnant. Unless something really fucked up happened. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. And I will call out guys who, woman is overworked, has no time to herself. It's your responsibility as a man to create time and space for her to take care of herself. You can't expect her to get fit when she's up all night with kids and when she's exhausted working all day long. You have to figure it out if you want her to do that. That's reasonable. That's a reasonable thing for her to. But if you create that time, you want a hot wife, you want a fit wife, you got to make sure she has the time to be able to go and exercise and take care of herself. I'm grateful I never had to deal with this personally, but I've seen it with enough clients. It drives me crazy. It absolutely drives me crazy. The entitlement, the sheer entitlement that some of these women have. That's like your entire life doesn't matter anymore. As a man, your needs don't matter. You just gotta accept it. I gave you a baby. Now I don't have to try. That's what it is. I got you, baby. I don't have to try. The fuck is this? Like and comment, gentlemen. Alex, question here. When someone makes assumptions, oh, so you're saying this? How much of that is just avoiding having a conversation? It's two things which are really the same thing. It's bad faith. It could be deliberate bad faith, or it could be simply that someone's triggered, and because they're triggered, they are incapable of addressing the issue in a they're because they're triggered, they're incapable of addressing the issue in an honest manner. Because they're so reactive, they're not actually listening to your point. They want to respond to a point that they made up in their head that they want to respond to, right? So it's bad faith behavior, but could be bad faith out of just lack of confidence, or rather that they're just triggered. They're triggered by what you said. What I said is extremely reasonable. Again, quibble on some details. I'm happy to modify some details. If women said, like I had a lot of women comment on my posts, right? And the big one was right here. Half a woman's job is making a husband happy, is keeping herself in reasonable shape and being sexually available. The other half is not being an entitled bitch. I go through this whole thing, and then I talk about how basically 3 months is reasonable, right? 3 months is when she should start trying to turn things around. I had a lot of women who were operating in good faith, and they said really more 6 months. Some said a year. I think a year's pushing it. I think a year to get back is fine. I think a year to get started is pushing it. But I accept 6 months in like a meaningful sense. Like they're not going to really get into it until 6 months because they can't do any dieting for 6 months. I get that. That's fine. I concede it. I'm happy to learn. I've had 3 kids. My wife never had that problem. That was never something that was a big issue for her. So it's not something that like I know that she was recovering in various tiny degrees, like pelvic floor wise or whatever, or with abs. That was stuff that took many more months, but it wasn't like massive weight gain that then had to disappear. So but there's a lot of bad faith stuff. There's just bad faith stuff coming from women on this topic. And it's a shame because men really do love their woman through all their ages, And I think women have a similar thing with men too. When you are in proximity with someone and when you're bonded to them, first off, deep love for somebody colors your perception of them anyway. So the more you love someone, the more you find them attractive, regardless of whether they're actually attractive. But when you've been with someone for a long time, you don't value as much, you don't care as much about the changes. That's another reason why it's really hard getting married when you're older, because it takes more humility. You have to be much more humble about how you actually look, what your actual value is. When you get married in your 20s, you go through life together. You don't look young anymore. Like my hair's thinning, right? It's thinning, you know. I'm sure my wife would like it to be not as thin, but hasn't affected how she's felt about me. Maybe it would more if she hadn't been with me. If I was going on the market right now, I'd have to take it a little bit more. I am going to take it seriously next year, but you get my point. It's not like women have husband goggles too. But if I just became a big fat fucking slob, would she like that? Would she appreciate it? No, she wouldn't appreciate it. She wouldn't appreciate it because it was something in my control and I was disrespecting her by doing it. I would disrespect her by doing it. That's the thing. It's like I'm not holding men to any other different standard. I'm not one of these guys who's like, yeah, men just don't do anything. Women should do all this. Women should do that. I have absolutely never been like that. Jessie, she actually doesn't want that. She much prefers it the way it is. It's thin, but I don't have any bald patches. So I think that's why. It's not like there's like a section that's missing. It's just thin all on top. So if I keep it short, it's not too bad, and might go to Turkey next year. Might get the hair transplant. We'll see. We'll see. I'll answer this real quick question, Casey. How can a single guy vet for this behavior before being married? Is this tied to the responsibility conversation? So real quick, you vet for it by first off by expressing your own feelings on the matter. When you guys are both like hot, doing well, you express your feelings on the matter. You make it really clear what you expect, also what you're willing to contribute. You don't make it seem like it's just like, yeah, you're going to have my kids and you're going to look great. And you don't look great, it's bad. It's not that. It's I'm going to support you every step of the way with this, but it's very important that, you get it back, right? You recover as best as you can from the pregnancies. I'm going to do everything you can, I can to help you, but to really, really make it so that this is important to you. You make it clear that this is an important value, so there's no ambiguity about what you expect. And it's not just an expectation, it's an agreement, right? She's going to be on the same page with it. And related to that, it's going to be her fitness habits. Women who are into fitness, who take care of themselves, who eat healthy, they're going to inevitably bounce back better. Probably one of the two worst variables that you can look for in a woman is looking, what did her mother look like? If her mother looked really, really big, you're probably going to get a big girl. And what are her habits? She eats very poorly, even if she looks okay right now. That'll catch up to her later on. Most likely, right? One way or another, it'll catch up. So, all right, guys. Anyway, drama on the internet. But look, you deserve what you deserve. Treat women well. Treat them with good faith, but do not let them manipulate you and do not let them operate in bad faith with you. That's my message for you today. There is no reason that pregnancy should be the end of your attraction for each other. There's no reason. Women get back in the shape. They can get back in the shape, decent, they can get back in the good shape. And as long as they try and they care about it and they still want you, you want them, it's going to be good. That's just the way it is. All right. A lot of this stuff is just cope. It's excuses. It's bullshit. And I'm tired of it. And you should be tired of it too. You shouldn't accept it. Shouldn't be mean, but you shouldn't accept it. All right, gentlemen. I'll see you next time. See you tomorrow for COVID Cabal.